this video we'll be wiring up for the data outlets, the pillar sockets and the lighting. So shout outs for this week, we've got a shout out for Mad Sparks 31. So cheers for commenting on the videos, really appreciate the support. Right then, let's get into this. That's all the boxes fixed. So next what we're going to do is wire up the sockets on the pillar. And yes, I've had a haircut. So first thing we need to do is get some access holes in. So there's already some existing ones in, but we're just going to ignore them because they're in the wrong place. So this is a 40 metre beam. So what you have to do is basically do a calculation to figure out where you can kind of put cables in. So this is a 200mm beam. So what the regs is basically you can drill in the centre 0.25 of the joist's depth, which is 50mm. So you can have 50mm hole here, and it's a 4 metre beam. So basically you can drill 0.25 to 0.4. That's like the distance between where you can actually drill it. So you won't be able to drill here. You basically have to come a metre out, so and drill between 1 metre and 1.6 basically. And that's where you can have your holes. So yeah, that was some not quick maths, but anyway. So as first of all, we're going to go in the middle of this. So this is an 18mm bit, so we can just tie up the middle because we're definitely going to land within that 50mm. So as first of all, and these are the little Bosch bits, so this should fly through. Look at that, perfect. So all we're going to do is get a run straight down there. We'll probably put a few holes in, one for power, another one for power, and another one for your data. So those are in now, you can see. So we've got three holes, so 2 for power, 1 for data, all the way down here. So what we'll do is get this fired up now. So what we're going to do is wire this slightly different. So I've already started to put just this cable down, but what we'll end up doing is basically extending from the ring that you saw earlier. So we'll take one cable, attach onto one leg, which will come down to here, and then we'll come up, run along, down to your next pillar, down to your next pillar, and then all the way back. So you basically, you've got your ring, we're extending it to all those new points, and then we're going to connect back into the ring. So that's what we're doing. So we'll get that done first. So that's all in now. So we've got our cables down to our sockets. So what'll happen is there'll be a piece of plasterboard going over there, and what we'll do is just measure the middle, chop that box out after it's all been plastered and pull the cables through. So that's how we do that. So we've gone from this little bundle here, so that'll connect on to extend the ring onto one of those. So it goes from there, picks up this one through these holes here to pick up that, and then all the way back. So here we go. So that's that job done. So next little job, what we'll do is get this Cat 6 in. So here's a little drum of Cat 6. So what we're going to do is wire from each point back to the data cabinet, which is going to be in this little store cupboard over here. So we'll have to wire through. When it gets to this point, we'll have to bring it up through the back of that, and this ceiling's getting dropped, so it'll kind of sit in that top void all the way along. When it gets to over here, we'll have to send it through in that corner, and then bob it out in this little electric cupboard here. So nice and easy, there'll be a data cabinet in here then. We'll ping that on, there we go. So we'll plunk a data cabinet in here and leave them long enough to reach to here. So nice and easy. I think what we'll do, instead of getting it all the way over, because they're not sure about if they're going to drop this or not, they just said so. What we'll do is just leave a big bundle, like just behind my head here, long enough to go back to there through the ceiling. So we might have to drill up to the ceiling, but we'll do that on the second phase. So just to note, you want the data cable separate to the mains cables. So the mains cables are here and here, and the data cables is going to go in this hole here if we need to run it through there. So as you can see, there's plenty of separation there. So the mains cables are not going to interfere with the data cables. So the cool thing about this drum is you can just pull it. So obviously we've got that just going up through the wall, so we'll pull it there and it'll just kind of feed itself. So it just unravels itself from the box. So you don't have to mess about kind of pulling it out. So best bet is just to grab it. We'll just pull it out to length. So that's unraveling at the moment. So we'll have it long enough. You get one piece long enough to go all the way back, and then all you need to do is, once you've got that measurement, which is long enough to go to here, up, along and in, Once you've got that measurement, you can then just measure all the other ones that length. So you don't need to keep walking this way. You can just get your cable to where it stops here, and then just make sure it matches this cable length, and you know it's going to land in that electric room perfectly. So we'll do that next. So we've got that cable to length now. So you see that little flag? That basically is where the other cables that get brought in need to be at. So basically from that, when we bring a new cable in, as long as it's the same length as this cable, it'll reach back to the room, so we don't need to keep measuring it out. So that's that. So what we'll do is label that end up number 1, and then in here, what we'll do is once we get into that box, we'll label that number 1. So you basically want to know at the panel and here what cables are which, basically, because you won't know. So that's those cables in. So what we've done is just measured out to the length of that one, and we've got all those points in there. So that just comes there. It'll eventually go up and either go through the void section, kind of with metal bands going all the way around, all the way over there, or we'll have to send it into that ceiling. So we'll decide on that on phase 2. But that's all clipped in, comes along here, and then goes off to all the different points. So what we'll have to do is get some metal all around band, and basically just tie in from here, and we'll have to get a few fixings in, just because this will be like an escape route, and we don't want the cables dropping down if there was ever a fire, you see. So that's one thing you have to do. The next little job is to get the 2 ways in. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a 3-gang switch, which is going to turn on these hall lights. There's going to be a 3-gang switch on that end, and there's going to be a 3-gang switch over by that door there. Alright, let's get reeling this cable out and we'll get it put in. So here we go, that's those little 2-way cables in, so it's 3 CONNET. So we've got 2-way 1, 2-way 2, and 2-way 3. So they'll go into that switch there. There's got one more 2-way to go over, because basically there's going to be 1, 2, 3 for the 1, 2 and 3 different kind of switchings there. But we've also got this section, so there'll be a switch here which will switch on these lights here for this half. And they want that 2-way into this side as well, so there'll be that to go in, so there'll be a 2-way 4. So after that, what we're going to do is get the other 2 ways in, so there'll be another 3 corners to go up along there and along here. And what we'll do is just crawl these up long enough to kind of go up this section here, run along the ceiling and go down to a switch which could be this side or this side. So we'll just leave it long enough to go to this side and we should be good. So I'm just pulling this 3 CONNET in. So what I've done is got one measured to length. So what we're going to do is basically coil off another ream which is long enough to go to there. Then what we'll do is once we've got another 2 in, so the 3 all together, we'll tape that end, run through here, tape that end, and then what we'll do is just pass it through and get it fed through as one big sausage. And then all we'll do is up to this point here, we'll just coil it all up, all 3, and then that'll be all set for this phase. There we go, that's his cable all just coiled up nicely. So it just needs tying up really, so it don't fall down. So we've got us 3 2-ways in there. So what we'll have to do is tack them along the inside of here, and obviously it's long enough to go down to the switch anyway. And then we'll have to get some metal ties in again every now and again, just so it don't fall down if there's ever a fire. So that's that job done. So the next little job we're moving on to is wiring up this little lobby section. So it's going to be like a partition here which runs all the way along, and that's going to be just 2 lights in here. And then because it's going to be like a glass partition, those 2 lights will run through in 2 rows. So there'll be like a row down there for this section and a row down there, so this will be a separate room. So let's have a look. I think there's going to be 4 and 4 down here, and then obviously that row will meet up with them 2. So here we go. So with these 600 lights, you basically don't want to go more than 2 meters apart, otherwise you start getting dark spots. So with down lights, it's 1 meter apart, you get dark spots. With these 600 lights, it's 2 meters apart. So yeah, it basically just works out about 4 down this line. So you do get quite a big spread with these type of lights. So obviously the more you put in, the brighter it is. So as long as you kind of stick to that rule, you should be good. First things first, we'll get it measured out. So we'll measure from here all the way to the end, and then we'll divide by 5 to get us 4 points, and we'll see what that looks like. And then we'll get a distance between here, and then divide by 3, which will get us obviously 1 position, 2 position, yeah. And then we're going to mark it out on this wall. So there we go. That's the big long rectangle, and then that's your little lobby. That's your little lobby area. And then this is like a multi-purpose zone. I can't remember what it says on the drawings, but yeah, it'll basically be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 2 lights for there. So what we'll do is just basically just write down the measurements. Just what'll happen is we'll get the cabling in, they'll board it, and then we'll just have to cut a hole, bring the cable through and wire it up. So nice and easy. So now I've got those measurements, I'll just take a picture on the iPad, and that's what we're left with. So when we come back, we're about to drill at those points and bring his cables through, nice and easy. So let's get it all wired now. So that's these lights wired, so we just coil them up, so they'll just get tucked up, and we'll drill a hole and pull them through basically into the fitting. So there's, can't remember how many I've wired, 2, 4, 6, 8, so there's 8 this side. Obviously I've got all that old stuff to disconnect and ditch later on, but they won't be able to see for now. And then we've got 2 in this little entrance bits. This should land perfectly for this area. So those cables come down to the switch, so there's going to be 2 switches here, the 3 gang which we've talked about, and there's going to be a 2 gang which is basically going to do this entrance and the 2-way for this section here. And then these cables have gone down to this switch over here. So the customer wants to be able to see basically, so we're going to lash up some temporary lighting. So basically the first point in the room we'll put like a pendant in just so they can kind of see. So what we're going to have to do is second fix. So basically we've got 2 feeds in, or feed in, feed out, and the switch and the cable going into the first light. So we'll have to get this wired basically. So we'll get these stripped first. So that's stripped, and then all the air, so we've done is sleeve them up and just attach them to this back box. So then we'll get the neutrals in a connector block next. So that's the neutrals at the back, so that'll stay like that. So you want to make sure that these cables land away from these screw holes. And then I ain't got a switch on me, so this is all just set up ready. So they'll go in the feed side and the common of the switch, and this will go in L1. So that'll switch your lights on basically. So we're just going to do the same for the others. So we'll have to tuck these out and get these all prepped. Same again for the kitchen switch. Cause it's just these rooms don't want lights into it, but this one, and the kitchen. The next little job we're going to do is just wire in for the kitchen sockets. So we've only brought 2 cables in, and we're back down to there to do that. Right then, that's all the cabling done, so we'll kind of show you what we've done for the first fix for this project. So we've wired for the lighting in here and disconnected all the old stuff. We've got all the cabling down for this switch. So like I said, there'll be a 3-gang switch for here. We've also got a switch for this lobby. So you're about to switch it on here, and you've got a 2-way over. So you're about to switch this area over from over here, and you're about to switch this little area from over here as well. So let's have a look. So at the back of this switch, that's all ready. So we've got this 2-way for that, feed in, feed out, and this cable here. We've also powered up the lighting so they can actually be able to see. So we've had to second fix a few switches, but the plaster about to come around that. Let's have a look in here. There we go. That's all working. So again, we'll just kind of cap through that, so we'll have to get a box on that. That's all taped through, so the feed goes through to the kitchen. Got the daters down, front side at wall and power for the other, so there'll be a double socket in that little void. What else we got? This room then. So got this working. So again, that'll just need plastering in, and we've capped through there, so we need a little box on there. We've had up for the kitchen, so they came in with 2 cables down, so one cable goes all the way around up to this socket, through to this socket on the other side, and then back all the way around, picking up here, and then all the way through to this socket. So that's this wired. And then we've got all this daters in, so if you look up there, we've got all these 9 cables in, which are just nicely coiled up there. So that's just kind of done down here. So this is the first phase of the electrics. We've got the data in, which is long enough to go back to the electrical room. There'll be like a data cabinet in there, and we've basically extended the ring so all the sockets will power up from that existing circuit, which is what they wanted. So hopefully we've covered everything in this video. Obviously a bit commercial, it's quite a big project, so obviously we filmed this over a few days. So yeah, that's us done down here. So if you've got any questions, just comment below. If you like this kind of content, hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the little bell notification so you know when we next upload. As always, have a good one from me, and I'll see you on the next one.